So if you guys are going through Winnemucca on your way to Virgin Valley, you have to stop and get some food from La Tortilla Factory. Dude, I just had the tacos combo meal and bought some flan. All the desserts in there are homemade. The food is all homemade. You can hear it cooking it as soon as you order it. The beans and rice are outstanding, man. It is amazing good Mexican food, especially for a small town like Winnemucca. I didn't expect to have, some food like this. And where is it? It is right around where the Days Inn is on Main Street and the Conoco. It's right in the parking lot of the Conoco. So, dude, it was outstanding, well worth the money, ridiculously good food. So if you're going through Winnemucca on your way to one of the digs, you should stop by this place. It's great. Hello again. It's another episode of Mining America, and I am here at the Royal Peacock Opal Mine. And right when I sat down to do this, I found a little piece of wood that has some amazing green fire on the end of it. And that's the way it can be sometimes. Sometimes you'll search all day and you'll find nothing. And sometimes you'll just sit down and pick something up. There was a girl that was here yesterday. She sat down for about 20 minutes, found herself a black opal. I saw it. Yes, I'm very late on my intro. I should have done my intro 3 days ago. But back to the matter at hand. This version or this round of digs that I'm on, this trip has been partially paid for by viewers like you. So right now I want to give them their credit and say a thank you to all of them. So I'm going to do that in written form so you can all read it right here. And I'll say thank you again, I promise. So last time I was at the Royal Peacock, I spent 1 day doing tailings, and I spent 3 or 4 days digging in the bank. And I did 1 day digging in the bank this time, and my body just couldn't handle it with the injuries that I've recently suffered, and I just wasn't prepared or able to keep up. So on that note, I'll have a very little bit of bank digging for you. I will have a very little bit of information on digging the bank. Some useful information for you if you do come here and decide to dig the bank. But mainly this video, we are going to be focusing on noodling, surface hunting, going through the tailings, whatever you want to call it. And so far, I've done great. Sitting down and finding this little limcast this morning is a big win as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to show you some tips and some tricks on that. And I've got some great stuff to show you here at the end of the video. Most opals are found by the sound of breaking glass. It's a very distinct sound compared to the dull thud of the clay or the ringing sound that the rocks make when the pickaxe hits them. I tend to try and move as much dirt as possible, but as you can tell, unless the clay is really dry, it does not come off in, big chunks. You really don't want it to anyways, because you'll end up missing something that's super beautiful. If you only take small amounts of clay off of the wall at a time, your area will be easier to muck out and you won't miss as many opals. And this is definitely not easy work, so feel free to take your time and pace yourself so you can make it throughout the day. Or multiple days if you take my advice, because I believe in digging the bank for much longer than just 1 day, although I have seen people find amazing stuff on their first try. The whole time you're digging, keep your eyes out for anything ultra white, black, or shiny, anything that's the shape of wood, or anything that's wood at all. I'm always looking for wood when I'm digging in the bank.
While I'm mucking out my area that I was digging in, I was tossing my tailings in a spread just beyond the tailings pile from the guys who were digging the hole before I got there. The idea was that the opals being lighter than the rest of the rock would usually land on top, and after every 5 or 6 shovelfuls I would walk over there and inspect the ground, hoping to find something. And although most of the time I did not in the beginning, later on when I started crawling around on the ground, I definitely did. But I have a new philosophy on mucking out my hole, and I don't think that I will be just tossing shovelfuls all willy-nilly like that anymore. No, from now on I'm going to be making a solid pile next to where I'm digging, like the one you see there that the people were digging previously to me made, specifically so I can go through my own tailings. But I'll talk more about that in a second. Right now we can just watch me work for another minute or so.
So you've been digging in your hole most of the day and you're tired and you're ready to go, or it's like an hour left or so, and you decide to go do tailings, or at least that's what I've been doing. Most of the time, if I've dug the bank and I've got tired of digging the bank and I haven't found nothing, I just go and wander around and go and see if I can find anything in the tailings. And what I found out this weekend is the biggest mistake I have been making, and probably some other people's been making, is not going through my own tailings. When I went through my own tailings and the tailings of the people that have been digging the hole I was digging this weekend before me, I found all kinds of nice little fiery pieces of wood in there. Now, they probably missed some, I probably missed some, but if I wouldn't have done tailings the next day and decided to go through those tailings, we all would have missed them. So if you're digging the bank, when you get tired, when you need a break, go through your tailings. If there's an hour left in the end of the day and you don't feel like breaking the clay anymore, go through your tailings. You probably missed all kinds of stuff. Most people do. I know I did, and I know the guys that were in the hole before me, they definitely did. So go through your tailings. All of these pieces were found in the tailings of the hole that I dug on day 1 when I was doing virgin ground. I didn't think I hit anything. The hole was very large, and 3 people had dug in that hole previous to me. So it might not have been me that dug this stuff out of the ground, it might have been them, but I do know that all of these came out of that hole, all of these were missed by somebody originally, and over the next 2 days of going through their tailings, I found all of these pieces. Now, 2 of these pieces specifically are ridiculously amazing, being that conkwood can go for very, very high sums of money. And this is a very good piece of conkwood. I've already glued it to make sure the glass stayed attached because this came out of the wet wall. The bentonite clay was falling off of it when I got it, and it was starting to dry out, and I just wanted to make sure the wood didn't fall apart in transport. So you can see that little piece of red fire right there, right? It's very evident. This has glass on the outside of it. It has fire all through it. I can't really get it to flash right now, but I will later. And this one piece, the mine owner gave me an estimate that as it sits in the rough, he would sell this for about $2,500. Now, this is this one piece. It weighs 20 grams, so that's 100 carats right now in the rough, and it has fire all through it.
This piece, I think, is a piece of the same wood. It has bigger pieces of glass that run through it, but it also has fire all through it. So those are my 2 stars that I found for the weekend. My 2 personal pieces for sure. This is another piece that was found in there. You can see the red. It's not super flashing at you, but it doesn't really need to. You can totally see the red in it. It has glass running all through it with a nice polish. All of this on the outside is probably going to fire up really good. That's what I'm expecting. This is a super nice piece. Another very large piece. All of this came out of doing the tailings from where that virgin ground was. It has fire in it. All of these have a play of color. Every one of these has a really nice play of color. You guys are going to end up seeing them when I polish them up and before I send them out to people and put them for sale online and stuff like that. So make sure you go through your tailings, even if you're digging virgin ground. You never know what you're going to miss, especially since something 100 carats is only about the size of a silver dollar.
All right, about the tailings piles. As you come up the drive to park, you take a left right here, you follow that red arrow, you go up this road and around. This first pile that you go around is the oldest tailings pile. So this is the oldest tailings pile. This next pile right there in front of us, that is the second oldest tailings pile that you can go through. And then the very big hill right there, that is the freshest tailings pile. It's going to have the newest stuff that's put in it. So those are generally the 3 tailings areas. Your 3 tailings piles, depending on if you want to go through stuff by age. If you really want to see opals in the tailings at the Royal Peacock, the best way is to get on your hands and knees and get very close to the ground. That's the best way you're going to see glass and shapes and the wood that you're looking for that has opal in it. Keep the sun to your back, move slowly, brush little bits of dirt out of the way, and keep looking. Just keep looking. There are opals out there, even though most all you see is dirt. There are tons of opals. After day 1 of having good amounts of success of finding my opals like this, I really wished I would have remembered to pack a pair of knee pads. So if you plan on surface collecting on your hands and knees at the Royal Peacock, there are definitely rocks in the clay and it can get very abrasive. So pack a pair of knee pads with you. They're extremely useful. Just like all horrible timing, I just had my cell phone holder for my tripod break, so this section of video is not going to be near as good as I would like it to be. But these are some of the most colorful pieces I found while surface collecting. This is going to one of the patrons. This is a black opal piece of conch wood. It's truly black. You can see it. Lick it a little bit, make it shine a little bit better. You can see all the color in it. There's tons of color in it. It's got a nice thick line of glass here. There looks like there's more glass running through it for sure. Before I glued it, you could see color running along the outsides of the wood here. This is 16 carats, and the mine owner said as a rough piece, right like this, he would sell it for between $800 and $1,200. After it's polished, the price would dramatically raise because it's a truly black opal piece of conch wood. It's a really nice piece. It'll make a really nice jewelry piece. So here's a bunch of the other pieces I found. Let me go back to one of the most amazing ones. I found this
on my last day when it was really windy, when I just couldn't take it anymore. You can see how small it is. Let's see how close up I can get on it. If you can see all the little lines in it. This is a, I need to not drop that on the tiles below. This is a black opal pine cone. I don't see any fire in it yet, but it is a perfectly shaped pine cone. It's black opal on top with some white opal on the back. It's got all of the little lacing. And Jake, the mine owner, one of the mine owners at the mine, told me that he would not sell that for anything less than $700 to $1,000 because it's super rare, it's super small, it's fully opalized, and it's black. This piece was one of the first pieces I found noodling, surface collecting. You can see the color right up in the corner right here, no problem. Get back better under the light, maybe that'll help. So it's got really great color running through it, and it's got glass line on top. You can see where this was broken off, and when I touched it, it started flaking off. So once again, I glued it immediately. And this is going to polish up into something spectacular. I know that. Look at that color on it. So I only asked him for a value on a couple of things while he was available, and these are two of the things I asked him for a value on, and some of the other conchwood I found. There's a really big limb cast. Who knows if it's got fire in it until it gets cleaned up. This is another really nice piece of conchwood, it looks like. It's got glass, like pink, and other glass running through it. Once again, really needs to be cleaned up. This is a very potchy piece of opal, opalized wood, but I'm not getting it to fire right now. But under the sun, when I had it, you could see really major glints of fire in this sort of churty looking top. So I'm expecting this to be a really nice specimen piece when I clean it up. And it's really big. It's very, very large. And these two pieces, two of the last pieces I found. See how red that is? You can see the green and red flashing right there in the edge. But you can see how red that top piece of glass is. And this is another piece of the same piece of wood. I did really good. These are both little pieces of conchwood. I'm going to turn these into jewelry pieces. They got amazing fire in them. They're probably going to end up being a couple of carats, which is once again very valuable. So, and this piece is another piece that came out right next to these. It has some glass in it and that red glass on the edge right there. I believe this was of the same piece that these came out of. There was a lot of dilapidated wood around them, so yay, surface collecting.
And then of course there is sifting. We've all seen sifting before, and so far on this trip I have found nothing sifting, but I haven't done very much real sifting. I've really been crawling around on the ground on my hands and knees most of the time and flipping stuff over, and that is how I found most of my good stuff. At the same time, sifting can be a worthwhile project. This area right here is where I found my black opal yesterday, and this is also where I just sat down and found a nice fiery little piece of wood. It's very little, but it is very fiery. So I'm going to sift this, and we'll see if we find anything in the next few minutes.
these are my sifting finds. Some pretty awesome limb casts, clear to white to black. Can't wait to see if that polishes up with any color. And this one's pretty awesome. Got some pure white on the inside with some crystal on the outside of it. Once again, I don't see a lot of color, but we'll see what happens when I get to polishing it. And this one right here, you could not see the blue that was peeking out of it. It's a nice piece of wood with some white opal on the outside of it, but with all this clay and stuff, we're not sure how much color, but I know it's going to have some color because of that deep blue on the edges. And we got some little stuff like this one, which this one has some great fire in it. And it's going to clean up excellently. It's just about the right size to be a pendant or a ring if it cleans up just right. And it'll be worth a pretty penny too with all the crystal opal in it. Nice piece. And limb casts and stuff like that. Sifting is definitely a worthwhile project. It's like anything else, just got to get lucky on the spot. I found a couple of really nice pieces yesterday, which I would normally consider a lazy way, but lazy doesn't really matter as long as you're finding stuff right. And it was suggested to me by somebody who has been hunting opals in Virgin Valley for about 15 years. So, you know, a suggestion from somebody with that kind of background is usually a good piece of information to listen to. And yesterday I found the black opal that is going to be going to one of the supporters of this dig. And it's really simple. I mean, you just basically get the sun coming over your back, find a nice area of rocks that are trailing down the hill, find a place to sit, and pick through them. And just brush stuff down the hill, and just pick through the rocks and see what you can find. See if you can find anything at all. And then if you don't find anything right here, just brush some more down the hill. And since you're sitting at the bottom of the hill, they're just going to pretty much keep flowing. You can sit here all day doing this if you want, or you can move to another spot. The main thing I can tell you about hunting opals is perseverance pays off. You got to work through those moments of despair and frustration and just keep digging or keep hunting, move on, change your course for a few minutes. But quitting is not an option. Too many times you find the best stuff after you think you should have already quit because you're just not finding nothing. But like the miner meme and a lot of other miners say, 1 inch from a million or a million inches from one. You're looking for any pieces of wood, anything that looks like it has glass on it. Those are the things you want to pick up and look at. Well, it's been another great dig for me.
out here at the Royal Peacock. I honestly think I had better luck this time than I had last time. I found a couple of super rare pieces last time. This time I found some, I think, more overall valuable pieces, and a lot of little pieces that I think some of my patrons will definitely enjoy. Didn't do near as much didn't do near as much bank digging this time as I did last time, but definitely had just as much, if not more, luck crawling around on my hands and knees through the tailings. I found some stuff while I was sifting. I found some small stuff that was really pretty that can totally be used for jewelry. But most of the nicer, bigger pieces of wood that I found, and when I say bigger, I mean like, about that big. I found most of those crawling around the whole mine everywhere on my hands and knees with my face in the dirt. That was how I had my best bit of luck doing tailings. The sun at my back, although that is a big deal at Spencer, it does help here, but it's not quite as big of a deal because you're really looking for shapes. You're looking for, shapes that look like wood or glints of glass, which that does help having the sun at your back. So it was a great weekend, great week, great time to be digging. I found plenty of stuff. Once again, it's a great place to dig, so come on out, enjoy it.
If you would like to visit the Royal Peacock Mine, links are in the description. Just click the Show More in the description area, and it will show you all of the links associated with Mining America's YouTube channel, including the Mining America Etsy store, Patreon page for support, Facebook page, and all other social media links. This episode of Mining America was brought to you in part by viewers like you, so I would like to extend them a special thank you. Thank you, Simon, Scott, Donald, Paul, and Everett. Without you, this dig would not have happened.